Those who have never seen a living Martian can scarcely imagine the strange horror of its appearance. The peculiar V-shaped mouth with its pointed upper lip, the absence of brow ridges, the absence of a chin beneath the wedge-like lower lip, the incessant quivering of this mouth, the gorgon groups of tentacles, the tumultuous breathing of the lungs in a strange atmosphere, the evident heaviness and painfulness of movement due to the greater gravitational energy of the Earth, above all, the extraordinary intensity of the immense eyes, were at once vital, intense, inhuman, crippled, and monstrous. There was something fungoid in the oily brown skin, something in the clumsy deliberation of the tedious movements unspeakably nasty. Even at this first encounter, this first glimpse, I was overcome with disgust and dread. If that produces no special reaction, it comes, of course, from an early chapter of The War of the Worlds. Perhaps this passage will. "I don't have to tell you men that point of sale has its special problems," Harvey said, puffing his thin cheeks. "I swear the whole damned government must be infiltrated with conservationists. You know what they've done. They've outlawed compulsive subsonics in our oral advertising. But we've bounced back with a list of semantic cue words that tie in with every basic trauma and neurosis in American life today. They listened to the safety cranks and stopped us from projecting our messages on air car windows, but we bounced back. Lab tells me," he nodded to our director of research across the table, "that soon we'll be testing a system that projects direct on the retina of the eye." He broke off. "Excuse me, Mr. Sharkin," he whispered. "Has security checked this room?" Fowler Sharkin nodded. "Absolutely clean. Nothing but the usual State Department and House of Representatives spy mics. And of course we're feeding a canned playback into them." I quote that extract from The Space Merchants, a novel published in 1953, and the H.G. Wells piece, in order to make possible a tiny experiment in self-analysis. Anybody encountering such passages who fails to experience a peculiar interest related to, but distinct from, ordinary literary interest will never be an addict of science fiction. Now, I acknowledge that people can live out happy and useful lives in complete indifference to this form of writing, but the point about addiction is the one where investigation should start. Those who decide that they ought to find out about science fiction, suspecting that it furnishes a new vantage point from which to survey our culture, will find much to confirm that suspicion, and also, I hope, much incidental entertainment. But they are unlikely to be able to share, nor even perhaps to comprehend, the experience of the addicts, who form the overwhelming majority of science fiction readers, and to whom, naturally, entertainment is not incidental, but essential. As is the way with addictions, this one is mostly contracted in adolescence, or not at all, like addiction to jazz. The two have much in common, and their actual coexistence in the same person is not unusual. The two modes themselves, indeed, show marked similarities. Both emerged as self-contained entities sometime in the second or third decade of the century, and both, far more precisely, underwent rapid internal change around 1940. Both have strong connections with what I might call mass culture, without being, as I hope to show in the case of science fiction, mass media in themselves. Both are characteristically American products, with a large audience and a growing band of practitioners in Western Europe, excluding the Iberian Peninsula and probably Ireland. Both, in their different ways, have a noticeably radical tinge, showing itself again and again in the content of science fiction, while, as regards jazz, whose material is perforce non-political, radicalism of some sort often appears in the attitudes of those connected with it. A recent article in The Spectator claimed that one might as well give up hope of meeting a British intellectual committed to jazz who was not firmly over to the left in politics.